Zero Mark here with a Lightning Deals Week Slayer event preview. Let's take a look at the things that they've changed for this Slayer event. So nothing new with the way that the event works. The only thing that looks like it's going to be new is Lightning World bosses, which aren't really new because these are the Halloween bosses. They changed it from every 4 hours to every 2 hours. But other than that, this is the Halloween bosses. They're special high participant bosses. And if you'll remember from the Halloween event a couple of weeks ago, there were 250 participant slots and you averaged 5 or 6 participants per boss. So hopefully they've fixed that and made it so that you actually have the fun of what it's supposed to be. Because last time you had 9 trillion HP bosses and you had 4 or 5 people in the boss. And it just was broken. And they didn't say it was broken and they didn't admit that, but it was broken. So hopefully they've actually fixed it this time around. Other than that, this is going to be a typical Slayer event. Speed is going to be the name of the game. You need to be killing these bosses very, very quickly. So if you see a boss and you get in, you need to get in and do your 15% damage as quickly as you possibly can. Or else somebody else is going to come in and snark that MVP from you. Okay, so let's take a look at this event deck. The lightning bosses or the Halloween bosses aren't the only thing that they stole from that Halloween event. This deck is exactly the same as the Alex Banhammer deck. It's the exact identical same deck. So it's a 2-card deck. And what I mean by that is there's 4 cards, right? There's the main event card, there's the support card, there's the ultra rare, and then there's the ultra rare or the master collection hero. There's 4 cards, but it's really only 2 because there's 2 base cards and then there's 2 upgraded versions of those base cards. So the first card is the main event hero. You'll notice this is a light Dren hero. And there was a previous event a while back that also had light Dren heroes. So you probably have some, if you've been playing this game for a long time, you probably have some other light Dren heroes. And you probably have some light Dren relics from before that you can use. So anyway, let's take a look at this particular deck. Creates 1 light power gem 1 plus 1 every additional 10 stacks of Dren intensity. And it's got an HP boost as the passive. So high HP heroes, so high HP team that helps with survivability. 1 light power gem 1 plus 1 for every 10 stacks of intensity. So that means that by the time you have 340 intensity, you're going to be filling the entire board with light power gem 1s. Okay, that's the event hero. Let's look at the master collection hero because that's the X13. That's the upgraded version of that card, which just changes from creates 1 light power gem 1 to 1 light power gem 2 plus 1 for every 10 stacks of Dren intensity, and increases the hero's HP by 50%, not 35. So it's just the same card, just better. So what this means for this one is that if by the time you have 340 intensity, you'll be filling the entire board with power gem 2s. If you have 2 copies of this card and you activate them one after another, you'll fill the entire board with power gem 2s for the first one, and the second one will upgrade all of those power gem 2s to power gem 4s. So if you have 2 of these cards every 7 turns, you can have the entire board filled with power gem 4s once you have intensity at 340. If you have 3 of them, activating the third one would be useless because you can't upgrade things beyond power gem 4s. If you have 3 of them, that allows you the following turn to also have a board full of power gem 2s, so you could get 2 attacks in a row. The weakness of this deck is that 7-turn cooldown between these big hits. So if you have multiple ones, you can kind of scatter them out and spread out and do more damage more consistently, or you can save up and do 1 massive hit. Also, if you have 2 event cards and 1 of these cards, you can use all 3 of them to fill the entire board with power gem 4s once every 7 turns. Let's take a look at the support card for this deck. The support card has the battle skill of healing, and it dispels buffs on the enemies. That can be very useful because anytime that the enemy is being buffed, so that would be armor, that would be might, things like that, you can get a dispel on that. So that's useful. Passive creates light gems and light power gems and increases intensity. That can be useful early on for boosting the intensity up because you want to run it up to that 340 as fast as you can get it. So the heal is the main part of this card that's really useful because you don't necessarily need light gem creation because you're going to have your other cards filling the entire board with light power gems. So it becomes about the heal for this and the longevity, being able to survive. So the ultra rare for this week, this is just the 5-star version. So the 6-star version is even better, but it's just an upgraded version of the support card. You heal for 520% instead of the 300%. In the passive, you're getting 5 light gems and 3 light power gem 1s instead of 4 and 1. And at the 6-star version, those numbers go up even more. And then you have a passive, and the passive is actually pretty useful because if you have 25 light power gem 1s on the board, you get an attack boost, 160% attack boost for 3 turns. Well, every time, as long as you have 240 intensity, you're going to have 25 light power gem 1s on the board every time that you use the main event hero skill or the X13 skill. So this attack boost is going to happen right when you're doing your board full of light power gem 4 attacks. So that's a huge attack boost that can be put there. But it's limited. It doesn't scale, so you're not getting an extra attack boost if you have extra intensity. You're just getting that single attack boost. So an ideal deck, ideal makeup for this deck, I would have, I think, 3 of the X13s if I could get them, or event heroes, and 2 of the support or ultra rares. That 160% attack boost is huge from the ultra rare, so it is a much better card than the support hero, but the deck does not absolutely need the support card or the ultra rare to function. You can do it with just support cards and main event heroes and X13s, so you don't have to go chasing the ultra rare if you don't want to. And given that there's already some light Dren relics in the game, you can probably get this deck started relatively quickly and get the intensity to make it work. Now, I want to talk just briefly about some of the complaints people have about this type of deck. And one of the biggest complaints is that they say that the damage is capped. And what they mean by the damage being capped is that by the time you have 340 intensity, you're filling the entire board up with these light power gem 2s and nothing else. So whether you have 340 intensity or you have 3,000 intensity, you're doing the same exact damage. So the damage doesn't scale based on intensity. It reaches up to a point. You've got the entire board filled with light power gem 4s. You've got the 160% attack boost from the ultra rare, and that's the best you can do. It will never get better no matter how much intensity you add. A lot of the nuke decks, the nuke damage is based on intensity. And if you have 100 intensity, it does a little bit. If you have 1,000 intensity, it does a lot more. If you have 3,000 intensity, it's doing even more. So as you gain intensity, the damage is uncapped. And in those longer 60-second battles in the Legend Trials, you can really, with an uncapped nuke decks, really scale that intensity up and really start doing massive amounts of damage. This deck, once you hit 340 intensity, any additional intensity beyond that is doing nothing. And so you want to run the intensity up to 340 as fast as you can, and then it doesn't matter because you've done the best you can, and now you're just doing the same thing over and over again every 7 turns. And so that's the kind of complaint about this deck. But hopefully you get lucky on your random number generator rune pulls, and you can get some X13s and have a lot of fun playing this Lightning Deals Week event. Until next time.